The Social Security trustees just put out their official report, and the number in it that should stop you cold is 2032. That's when the trust fund runs short, and when it does, benefits get cut automatically by 22%. No vote, no warning, it just happens. For the average recipient, that's about $500 a month that's gone. And the people who absorb that hit the hardest are the ones who spent 30 or 40 years paying into it on an hourly wage with nothing else to fall back on. So I want to walk you through what's actually happening, why it's happening, and who ends up holding the bag when it does. Because the answers to those three questions are not what most people think. The first thing to be clear about is what running out actually means, because a lot of people hear Social Security is going bankrupt and picture the whole program shutting down. That's not what's happening. The program keeps running. The money coming in from payroll taxes keeps coming in. What runs short is the trust fund. That's the reserve that's been built up over decades to cover the gap between what comes in and what goes out. When the trust fund depletes in 2032, the program can only pay out what it takes in from current payroll taxes in that year. The trustees calculate that covers about 78 cents of every promised dollar. So benefits don't go to zero, they get cut to 78% of what was promised. Automatically, by law, with no action required from Congress. Let's put $500 a month in real terms because that number sounds abstract until you think about what it actually covers. For a working person who retired after 35 years of hourly work, Social Security might be bringing in $1,400 or $1,500 a month. That's not a supplement to a pension and a 401k. For a lot of people, that's the retirement. So a 22% cut doesn't trim the edges. It cuts into rent, it cuts into groceries, it cuts into the prescriptions I talked about in my last video. $500 a month is the difference between managing and not managing for a lot of people who paid into this program the longest. So why is this happening? How did we get here? There are two forces working against Social Security right now, and you need to understand both of them because they have very different solutions and very different politics attached to them. The first part is demographics, and this part is straightforward. When Social Security started, there were a lot of workers paying in for every retiree drawing out. That ratio has been shrinking for decades as the population ages and birth rates fall. Fewer workers supporting more retirees means the math gets harder over time. That's the part politicians usually talk about because it's nobody's fault and it's hard to argue with. The second force is less talked about, and it's the one that should make you angry. Social Security only taxes earnings up to a cap. Right now, that cap sits at $184,500. Any dollar you earn above that number is not subject to Social Security tax. Think about what that means in practice. If you earn $50,000 a year, every single dollar you make gets taxed for Social Security. If you earn $500,000 a year, you pay Social Security tax on the first $184,000 and nothing on the rest. The hourly worker pays the full rate on every dollar they earn. The high earner pays a smaller effective rate because a big chunk of their income is above the cap and escapes the tax entirely. And here's why that matters for the trust fund. Over the last few decades, income at the top has grown much faster than income at the bottom. More money has been flowing to people above the cap. That means more income has been escaping Social Security taxes than the program was designed for. And the revenue base has quietly eroded. The trustees report says the share of total wages subject to Social Security taxes has fallen from 87% in 1984 to about 83% today. That gap is money that could have been funding your retirement that went somewhere else instead. So, when 2032 comes and the cut hits, who feels it the most? And the answer is exactly who you'd expect. The person with a pension, 401k, a brokerage account, and Social Security as a nice addition to the picture can absorb a 22% cut to one of four income streams. It hurts, but it doesn't change the quality of their retirement in a fundamental way. The person who worked hourly for 35 years in a warehouse, on a job site, in a kitchen, and whose Social Security check is the primary income in retirement cannot absorb that cut. For them, a 22% reduction is the difference between their rent getting paid and it not getting paid. Between eating well and skipping meals, that's the same person who paid into this program faithfully for their entire working life, never missed a payroll deduction, and the hit lands squarely on them. The same program, the same cut. Completely different lives on the other side of it. And that's not an accident of the math. It's the predictable result of a system that was built when working class people had pensions and more financial cushion than most of them have today. Now I want to walk through the main proposals being floated to fix this, because they're not all the same, and who pays depends entirely on which one gets chosen. I'm not going to tell you which one is right. That's a political question, and that's not what this channel is for. But I am going to tell you who bears the cost of each one, because you deserve to know that before you decide what you think. The first option is raising or eliminating the tax cap. Right now, earnings above $184,000 escape Social Security tax. If you remove that cap, high earners pay Social Security tax on all of their income the same way hourly workers do. This would close a significant portion of the funding gap. Who pays this? People making above the cap, which is a small percentage of workers. Who benefits? Everybody who draws Social Security, including working class retirees. The second option is raising the retirement age. Right now, full retirement age is 67 for most people. Some proposals push it to 68 or 69. This effectively reduces lifetime benefits because you collect fewer years. Who pays? Everyone, but disproportionately people in physically demanding jobs who can't easily work longer. A warehouse worker or a construction worker at 68 is in a very different situation than an office worker at 68. The physical toll of that work is real, and it doesn't disappear because Congress moved a number. The third option is across-the-board benefit cuts. This is the do-nothing option. Let 2032 come, let the automatic 22% cut happen, and call it a day. Who pays? Everyone who draws Social Security, with the heaviest impact on people for whom it's the primary income. Those are the real choices. Every fix involves somebody paying more or getting less. The question is which somebody, and that's worth knowing. All right, so what do you do with this information? If you're a working person planning for retirement, there's a few honest things here. First, go to ssa.gov and look up your projected benefit right now. Most people have never done this and have no idea what number is actually waiting for them. You log in, it shows you what you've paid in and what you're projected to receive at different retirement ages. Knowing that number is the starting point for any real retirement plan. Now, second, understand that even a reduced benefit is still money you earned and paid for. A 22% cut is real and it matters, but 78% of something is still something. Plan around the realistic number, not the promised one, so a cut doesn't crater your plan you built on assumptions that may not hold. Third, if you're under 50, Social Security probably shouldn't be your only retirement plan. Not because the program is going away, but because the math is uncertain enough that having some other savings, even a small amount, gives you options. A few $100s a year in an IRA adds up. You don't have to have it all figured out today. You just have to start. And fourth, pay attention to what your representatives are proposing on this. The choice of how to fix Social Security is a political one, and the cost of that choice lands differently on different people. Knowing which proposals protect working class retirees and which one costs them more is information worth having before you decide who to vote for. You paid into Social Security on every paycheck for your entire working life. You're entitled to know what's actually happening to it, not the political spin on either side, just the math. The math says 2032. The math says 22%. The math says the people who can least afford it feel it the most. Now you know. I make these videos for people who work for a living, no suits and no lectures. If this video helped, or you know somebody it might help, send it to them, and I'll see you in the next video.